Hey, look over here. Hey, I want to show you something. I did a full body green screen setup. Wow, in my little wee basement. I'm gonna show you what I was able to do in my little wee basement with my gear that was not made to do any of this. The concern is I need space between the screen and the subject, so I'm not getting excessive spill onto the subject from the green screen being lit. And I need space between the subject and the lens, so I'm not having to use an excessively wide lens and getting a warped effect of the subject. So imagine this is a very tense situation. I'm gonna take off my shoes in order to trod on my green, because nothing's worse on campus. This is wrinkly. This is the default state of my cloths because I don't fold them or really launder them. So a lot has been said about steaming them, but I have found that just spraying them down, getting them moist and letting it dry does most of what steaming does. And you can get that as moist as you like. Now, I feel like you're already seeing it look less wrinkly now. You're gonna get limited use out of this technique if it's not stretched. But since it's already stretched a bit, you know, let it dry as I get to work. So we'll come back to this later and see how it looks, see how it compares. So part of the issue I was running into is I needed a soft light wrapping full body around the subject. So I looked at the background and it was a very big room, but it was this completely digital scene, and I don't know as if the lighting in that was physically possible. So now there was like a cube with a lot of blue light coming from behind. I just so happened to have a Fresnel with a blue gel in that corner to begin with. So that worked out. That ended up becoming my motivated hair light. So this just came down to just blasting 200 watt lights through diffusion. One of them has a Fresnel on it that I put on wide. Flood, sorry Noah, flood. And that one's just a naked bulb. That's what I did, Mom. Sorry, that's not how you raised me, but that's what I did. The other side, which was my fill, but we're trying to wrap the light all around. That was easy, 300D with a Fresnel, bounce off a white photo cloth, very simple. I also had, I guess as a practical, I had this light up here. I decided to sort of utilize it, so I kind of worked it around that the person would be standing here and a little overhead light would be, I've set up lighting the subject up, and then I ran into a situation, I don't do a lot of chroma work. Oh, I gotta light my my green. I had this shop light here that lights a little bit of the top, but as you can see, the drop off is not great. Long story short, I used this Hexalux. This light is a Fresnel, but it has a special little party trick in that the Fresnel lens is semi-extrudable, so it allows you to shift it, to tilt shift the lens. Ooh. So that allowed me to, even though I'm all the way up here, all the way up at a side, to somewhat evenly light the green screen with very limited lights. So this was my main lighting source. The far end ended up being somewhat even compared to this closer side. I was skeptical, where am I gonna use, you know, something like this tilt shift, but it came in real clutch in this moment. God bless this older, very mechanical, early 2nd generation light technology. This is definitely very hot on the far left here, but that was never visible. So there's a seam here. There's a light seam here. And this feathers that a little bit. So it's a little less prominent. Looking back, a lot of what I would have changed on this shoot mostly came down to camera settings and life choices. I used the Panasonic S5 Lumix 2 S5 Mark II because it is the camera I have with the largest resolution and the cleanest image. I used the OpenGate 10-bit codec to record. I mounted the camera vertically with Magic Arm jank. Please ignore the Tascam you see in any images. I am merely using it as a riser when I shot horizontally. Thank you. Now, one of the lazy ways I like to use to smooth out the wrinkles in my green screen is through depth of field. So the idea is the less sharp the green is, the less contrast you're going to have, the less distinct the wrinkles are going to be, or, I mean, to an extent. So the particular lens I was using opened up to f4, but in order to get my exposure where I wanted, I quickly snapped it down to 6.3. So what I might have done instead is use the extended ISO. I can get about another stop of darkness. So going from the native 640 to 320 using the extended ISO, but I had not used the extended ISO before. I had not tested it, so coward. I shot at 23.976 because default. In hindsight, I probably should have shot at 30, maybe 60. To do OpenGate, it would have had to be 30, but 30 divides into 60, refresh rate, hertz. It would have also made the image a little darker. So that would have been maybe a stop and a quarter of extra depth of field I could have gained between the two. Maybe I should have gotten it. I should have gotten it. But I didn't. I had like 15 seconds to make that decision because that's how long my stand-in was standing in. Did it have a big effect on the background? We can never know. We will never know. You know, a stop and a quarter. Ooh, we're almost out of power here. I did shoot vlog rather than a color profile because I knew I could get a good key for it. And I have keyed around with that before, so that's what I did. I also didn't shoot 422. I shot 420 because that's what the OpenGate mode is. I didn't have an external recorder, so that's what I got. Would it have been cleaner 422, a cleaner key? I suspect it wouldn't be cleaner because you're almost doubling the resolution with the OpenGate mode, and then, you know, you have all the extra pixels, and then you use that word I can't think of, and it's smaller, and I don't think it makes a big difference. I used a zoom f6. So there's no convenient power here. If I needed to, I could have run power up along here. I wanted to keep this area of the floor clear because people were walking through here. I decided to break out my my tether tools. I guess it's an inverter. This computer and this monitor used in conjunction with the teleprompter is being run off this battery, and this is allowing me to get up to 200 watts from DTAP. That saved me having to run another cable or God forbid, leave a cable on the floor for someone to trip on or trot on. So that worked well. the battery lasts the duration of the shoot, so I was very, very happy. Thank you, Tether Tools. A lot of my thought process was not just how did the end product look, but logistics, admin, moving through the space. Where are people gonna move? Where are they gonna sit? Where are they gonna stand? I had a spot for me at the teleprompter. There was a woman who was working with the man who was doing the wide shot. And so she was there behind the camera. So if he wanted to look to her, he would still be looking in the direction of the camera and the teleprompter. People who are not me are not walking through here. So safety was a concern. I was just running this here. I was able to glance over here, see the camera, and then I was running audio off of this, you know, monitoring here.
The Fitness Gram Pacer test is a multi-stage aerobic capacity test.
With doing the teleprompter and the camera and this, I just didn't really want to have to worry about levels, so I just recorded in 32-bit float. I don't always do that, but I did that this time, so here we go.
Walk out the door, you see someone that you know, and they ask you how you are, and you just have to say that you're fine when you're not really fine, but you just can't get it.
That is a wonderful take. We'll make this the take. The last one will be the safety. Wow. Oh, much less wrinkle. Ooh, not a speck of a wrinkle. It's not perfect, but it is, what'd you put that at? 80%?
80, maybe 85.
We got 85% less wrinkle, and you didn't have to do all the steamy. The biggest limitation was obviously the limited space, just trying to get everything neat and so people aren't trotting all over themselves. The client seemed very happy, and he did that thing, you know, like of their generation where they clutch you. It's usually the higher up on your arm, the more they like you. And I got like straight up shoulder grasping. So he very much liked it, despite the hooptiness of the setup. I learned something. I hope you learned something. I don't know what it is, but I feel it. You know, something. What did we learn today?
Check your camera settings beforehand, get somebody else in there so you can fine tune your camera settings before the client is in front of the camera.
Z, that was excellent. Make friends. Don't live your life alone. See you in the next one.